The National Health Insurance Management Authority, NEMA, hereby informs the public that with effect from the 1st of January 2024, the buyback option will no longer be available. This means that newly registered NEMA members will not be able to simply pay for the previous 4 months as means of gaining immediate access to NEMA insured health services. Instead, they will be required to undergo a 4-month waiting period from date of registration, during which they're expected to make 4 consecutive monthly contributions for their NEMA accounts to be activated for use. Register and start contributing today. Don't wait until you fall sick. National Health Insurance, leaving no one behind.
NEMA Health Insurance. Protect your family.
Wow, that over there is a very nice Ford. Have you seen it?
Of course. I have been looking at it since we got here. My worry is how people manage such vehicles and where they buy genuine parts from.
I'm sure there's nowhere else apart from Shuma Auto Parts. They are the only supplier of genuine Ford and Mazda parts, which comes straight from the manufacturer. They have everything in stock for both latest and ordinary Mazda and Ford. They also service parts such as diesel filters, air con filters, diesel pumps, steering pumps, turbochargers, engine overhaul gaskets, suspension parts, and body parts. If they don't have parts you're looking for, they can order within 5 to 10 working days. To top it up, Shuma Auto Parts also supply Maxxis tires and CST tires.
Really? But where are they found?
They are found on Chandram Sonda Road, Cruiser Auto Workshop in Lusaka. Call on 0979 192057 and 0960747235. Email shumaautoparts@gmail.com. Shuma Auto Parts for all your genuine vehicle parts.
The Happy World of 5FM Radio, your adult contemporary radio station in Zambia, connecting you to the newsmakers and events that make news in the global village.
Good evening. This is the 5FM main news at 18:30 with Judith Mwape. The headlines. Government and Eurobond holders reach an agreement. LCC detained 50 riotous vendors. Malawi declares state of disaster over severe drought. And now the news in detail. The Zambia External Bond Holder Steering Committee has announced that it has reached a conclusive agreement with the government of Zambia on a restructuring of Zambia's $3.5 billion. This agreement follows the government's confirmation that the terms of the 2024 agreement are compatible with Zambia's Official Creditor Committee Assessment, OCC, and the IMF's program parameters under the second review framework. Since November 2023, when the OCC determined that the previous agreement in principle reached with the government did not meet the requirements of the comparability of treatment provisions set out in the Memorandum of Understanding. The committee has continued to support the government's efforts to pursue a restructuring on the terms close to those of the November 2023 AIP, recognizing that some adjustments were required as that agreement was predicted of a restructuring before 31st December 2023. While the 2024 agreement provides some further debt relief beyond that provided for in the November 2023 AIP, these additional concessions will allow for the standing default on the Eurobonds to be cured and will also support the restoration of Zambia's macroeconomic and debt sustainability in the context of the IMF-financed program. The Lusaka City Council, in collaboration with the State Police, has apprehended 50 individuals for riotous behavior directed at council police officers in the Central Business District. Council Assistant Public Relations Manager Nyambe Bulumba says this incident occurred on Saturday, 23rd March 2024, along Katondo Street during the enforcement of the prohibition of street vending as mandated by Statutory Instrument Number 12 of 2018. He says it is regrettably the operation by council police officers was met with violent resistance, with vendors throwing stones at unarmed officers. Mr. Bulumba says the suspects, whose various merchandise has been confiscated, are currently detained and will soon be presented before a competent court. He has condemned the barbaric actions of certain street vendors, and such confrontations impede the council's ability to swiftly provide services.
We condemn because it derails the provision of quality services to members of the public. So this morning, the council police, in conjunction with state police, moved in to police street vending activities across the Central Business District. And in the process, we managed to apprehend 50 of the suspected rioters and some of the street vendors.
Local Government and Rural Development Minister Gary Nkombo has challenged engineers to partner with government in exploring more nature-based solutions aimed at enhancing disaster preparedness and response in the face of climate change. Mr. Nkombo has stressed the need for engineers to help with decisive action towards averting climate change, citing the need for them to be more practical in designing resilient infrastructure withstanding extreme weather events such as floods. He has further challenged the engineers to be hands-on in developing more sustainable energy technologies to address energy needs for the country. The minister was speaking when he officiated at this year's Engineering Institution of Zambia Southern Region Annual General Meeting in Siavonga District. He said it is displeasing that each rainy season, some parts of the country experience the effects of weak infrastructure when bridges are washed away or buildings collapse, a situation that demonstrates a gap in the professional application of engineering. This is according to a statement issued to 5FM News by Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Public Relations Officer Chila Namaiko. The United States says it will continue to help the Zambian government to improve and protect the country's health security. United States Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services, Andrea Palm, says this is why the United States government has made significant investments in Zambia's health sector. Ms. Palm said this after she held a closed-door meeting with Minister of Health, Sylvia Masebo, at the ministry in Lusaka today. She commended Zambia for the increase in allocation of funds to the health sector.
We are committed to being partners in that work. I want to thank the minister for taking such good care of the health and well-being of the people of Zambia, the ways in which we partner together and use the investments of the Global Fund and the U.S. government and others, and of your own country. The investments, the increase in investments in healthcare that you yourselves are making are really important to the sustainability of the progress that you are making.
And Ms. Masebo thanked the American government for supporting Zambia in strengthening the health system and security. She said discussions with Ms. Palm were centered on issues of maternal health and malaria control, among others.
You all know very well that currently Zambia has over 1.260 million people who are or R&Ds, and all that is coming from the support that we are getting from the American government. This week again, we signed another deal for $349 million between Zambia and the Global Fund.
In other stories trending this evening, the Environmental Assessments Committee on the Zambia Environmental Management Agency Board has approved 168 projects at its 16th and 17th sittings held in January, February, and early March. A 17-year-old boy of Shibuyonji district has been arrested for defiling a 6-year-old girl. Up next, the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
Government, through the Provincial Local Government Office, assisted by Provincial Constituency Development Committee, has approved 8 community projects valued at over 9,773,247 kwacha, pursuant to Gazette Notice Number 1683 of 2022. Isoka Town Council Public Relations Officer Peter Charlie says the 8 approved projects are part of the 11 projects recommended by the Isoka Constituency Development Fund Committee for approval under the 2024 allocation. Mr. Charlie says the approved projects include Phase 2 of the construction of Kasoka Mini Hospital, procurement of motorbikes for chief retainers for Senior Chief Kafwimbi and Chief Katiete, procurement of an ambulance, repair of the grader, among others. He says the local authority is expected to tender the approved projects as soon as possible. Mr. Charlie adds that the 8 projects will be funded using the 2024 Constituency Development Fund allocation, and works are expected to commence as soon as contracts are signed.
Construction of a health post at Kawandama village, among others, and these projects are expected to commence as soon as possible. I also wish to take this opportunity to confirm that the CDFC has also considered 2 community projects under the disaster contingents. However, the projects have been forwarded to the provincial CGFC for consideration.
That ends the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
And now on foreign news, Malawi has declared a state of disaster over a severe drought that is affecting most parts of the country. The announcement comes less than a month after neighboring Zambia made a similar move. Zimbabwe has also seen much of its crops destroyed. Malawi's President Lazarus Chakwera has requested more than $200 million in humanitarian aid. Here's a runner from the BBC.
The European Commission has launched a major investigation into Apple, Google and Meta, accusing the tech giants of unfair practices that harm users and competitors. The probe will examine the Apple and Google App Store rules. It will also assess whether Facebook owner Meta gives enough choice over the use of personal data for advertising. The British government is expected to link China to cyber attacks on the UK's Electoral Commission that compromised personal data of millions of voters. The attacks took place in 2021, but only revealed last year. Britain's Deputy Prime Minister Oliver Dowden will address Parliament later about the threat and efforts to combat it. The UN Security Council is due to vote on a new draft resolution calling for an immediate cease Gaza and the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages. 4 previous attempts have been vetoed, 3 by the US, while Russia and China vetoed a draft presented by the US itself last Friday.
And finally, in sports news, Castlebet has donated 150,000 kwacha to Oriental Quarries Boxing Promotions for the upcoming African Boxing Union Championship bouts slated for 6th April 2024 to be held at the government complex. Speaking during a press briefing this morning, Castlebelt Managing Director Margaret Kambi says the donation is aimed at supporting local sports and talents. Ms. Kambi says this will also help to grow the sport industry.
We are delighted to actually contribute 150,000 towards the sponsorship. 100,000 will be actually cash given to Oriental Quarries, and 50,000 will be actually in material forms. Of course, we are going to support them with any necessary material that will be needed to actually facilitate the match.
And Oriental Quarries Boxing Promotions Manager Christopher Malunga says the funds will help the promotion and reduce the deficit.
I would like to say thank you very much to Castlebet for coming up with such a big, huge sponsorship. Going to help the promotion and it will reduce the deficit. We are very, very excited. That will motivate also the boxers because they know that now the resources have been raised for them to take part. As a promotion, we'll make sure that whatever you have given us, this sponsorship will go towards the sport itself.
Another weather report brought to you by Classic Con.
Class Econ Roofing Africa.
Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy.
Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
Luapula, Northern, Muchinga, and Eastern provinces, including the eastern parts of Central Province, will be mainly cloudy, slightly windy and warm to mild with isolated rainfall and occasional thunder. Northwestern, Western, Southern, Lusaka, and Copperbelt provinces, including the western parts of Central Province, will have few clouds, windy at times, and mild to cool. That ends the weather report.
Class Econ Roofing Africa.
Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy.
Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
And that weather item brings us to the end of the news this evening. But before we go, a recap of the top stories. Government and Eurobond holders reach an agreement. LCC detained 50 rioters vendors. Malawi declares state of disaster over severe drought. For more news, follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the Happy World of 5FM. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. I'm Judith Mwape. Good evening.